there, thanks for joining me in today's Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Audrey Williams. In our program, we'll be looking at how the Education Ministry is helping young people unleash their tomorrow today. And later, we focus on how the Jamaica Social Investment Fund is helping to transform the education sector. Stick around, we have these and more right after this break.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh and this is your JIS News for Friday, May 25. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says the monetary penalties of over 850 Jamaican laws are to be updated this legislative year. The laws were reviewed by the Legal Reform Department. From that assessment, 14 matrices setting out the current penalties were prepared and sent to the respective ministries for their penalties to be updated.
Some of the laws where the fines are $40, $20, $100, and so we have present them in the matrix and invite them to make recommendations as to what the new penalties should be.
To expedite the process, a report will be submitted to Parliament in a few months' time. Minister Chuck was speaking during Thursday's post-sectoral press briefing at the Ministry of Justice. Still on justice, government is spending $846 million on the expansion of the Court of Appeal. This will result in the construction of 3 new courtrooms, 15 judges' chambers, and an expanded registry. Portfolio Minister Delroy Chuck provided an update on the rehabilitation works while on a tour of the facility on Thursday.
The work is going on right now at the Court of Appeal. It's a major contract. The instructions given here in this room is that it must be finished in August. I have told them I'm visiting at least once every 2 weeks.
Minister Chuck told reporters that plans are afoot to improve other courthouses across the island. The minister says a standard document and a 5-year plan to guide the physical development of the justice sector is being developed.
So I've pointed out that there are some courts, such as Mandeville, St. Anne, Montego Bay, and others, really and truly, that justice cannot be properly dispensed in these courts.
In other news, 2 sets of mock performance task tests are to be administered at the primary level. This will facilitate the transition from the Grade 6 Achievement Test, GSAT, to the Primary Exit Profile, PEP, examination. Grade 5 students will sit the mock exams on June 18 and 19, while Grade 4 students will be tested on June 22. Manager of the Student Assessment Unit in the Ministry of Education, Terry Ann Thomas-Gale, says the mock test seeks to sensitize and relax students as they prepare for PEP.
We have been preparing our teachers, our system, the system on a whole, to receive this new assessment. We have trained our grades 4 and grade 5 teachers in how to interpret the curriculum objectives, how to write assessment at the formative level, that's the classroom level, to develop the critical thinking skills.
Mrs. Gale was speaking at a JIS think tank on Thursday. The PEP will provide a profile of where students are academically, their strengths and weaknesses, and their readiness for the secondary level. Young people are being encouraged to become agents of change by signing up for the recently launched U-Report online platform. U-Report allows Jamaicans aged 13 to 29 years old to respond to weekly polls on issues that impact their lives. The U-Reporters provide feedback using their favorite social media app and free text messages.
It is a free social messaging tool that allows youth from any community all across Jamaica, regardless of where you're from, regardless of your background, the experiences, to respond to polls, access information, and as we've been promoting throughout this entire campaign, to become positive agents of change.
So for us, as a government, as a policymaker, the reality is that not only do we want our youth to be heard, we want them to have a seat at the table. We want them to be able to influence the decision-making process.
Jamaica is the first country in the Caribbean to use the UNICEF-designed U-Report platform. And finally, Prime Minister Andrew Holness has committed his government to working with voluntary groups for national development. Mr. Holness says a stronger partnership is needed among the state, the private sector, and service groups to improve the quality of life of citizens.
Voluntarism is an important part of national development. And not because it is a philanthropic endeavor, not because it is voluntary, it doesn't mean that it is free. What it means is that someone chooses to absorb the cost so that those who are more needy can benefit.
Prime Minister Holness was speaking at the Kiwanis Eastern Canada and Caribbean District Convention in Montego Bay, St. James recently. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
First up, a look at some of the major plans to be undertaken by the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information during this fiscal year to help our youth unleash their tomorrow today.
This ministry is confident, Mr. Speaker, that with the steps that we are taking, we will help our young people and our children unleash tomorrow, today.
And what are these steps that the ministry will be undertaking in the 2018-2019 fiscal year? Continued renovation of the residential care sector, opening Jamaica's first transitional living complex, developing a strategy to establish 126 daycare centers across Jamaica, and providing additional funding for the National Service Corps program. $50 million was allocated to carry out works on residential care facilities. The upgrades form part of a comprehensive 5-year improvement plan by the government to transform the sector.
Mr. Speaker, I'm very excited about this allocation because chief among the projects that we are to start this year is to develop our long talked about therapeutic center, Mr. Speaker, so that we can have a space that we can actively treat with children who come into our care, but who are in need of sustained psychological intervention.
The minister says the center, which should be completed in 2 years, will be constructed at Maxfield Park. Additionally, over $21 million has been raised to reconstruct the Walker's Place of Safety, which was destroyed by fire in January of this year. $36 million in grants will be distributed to all privately run children's homes to bolster limited resources. A $25 million multi-purpose classroom is being built at the Granville Place of Safety to provide skills training to female wards. The long-awaited transitional living complex for children in state care aged 18 to 21 is also on the ministry's agenda.
In June of this year, Mr. Speaker, we are set to open in Jamaica our first transitional living complex on Lady Musgrave Road, Mr. Speaker. This facility will house 40 females.
The ladies who have reached the required age to leave state care will receive accommodation for 2 additional years at the complex, along with skills training, mentorship, and employment opportunities to allow for a smooth transition. The facility, which is located at 24 Lady Musgrave Road in St. Andrew, was built through partnership with the United States Agency for International Development, USAID. $520 million has also been earmarked by government to establish 126 daycare centers.
The Ministry of Education, Youth and Information has developed a strategy which will see the establishment of 2 daycare centers in each constituency.
Early childhood institutions in each constituency, which have the capacity to accommodate children from 3 months to 5 years old, will be selected for retrofitting and support.
The Ministry of Education, Mr. Speaker, will provide trained early childhood teachers, will upgrade facilities where needed, will provide furniture and equipment. The ministry will provide resource materials, and children will attend these daycare centers free of cost.
The minister revealed that 52 institutions have already signed up for assistance. As part of its growth agenda, more skills training and employment opportunities will be provided for young people through the National Service Corps program.
It is budgeted that we will put from the Heart Trust NTA $800 million in the National Service Corps program, and from the World Bank a further $390 million.
This allocation will cover training, refreshment, venue rentals, and a stipend for the unattached youth aged 18 to 24 years old. And there is more on the ministry's agenda. A partnership will be formed with Family Life Ministries to establish Jamaica's first privately run foster care program. Public education campaigns will be designed to focus on anti-bullying, corporal punishment, and child protection. 3 young persons per parish will be trained and certified as youth club assistants to rejuvenate youth clubs. And 13 access points will be established to provide a one-stop shop for young people to access training and career development services.
Unleash Tomorrow Today, Mr. Speaker, is about creating a cadre of young people with progressive and analytic mindsets, a youth population with developmental and transformational ideas, not simply spectators, but active participants in shaping their future, their tomorrow, by action today.
We are children and we have rights. We have a right to be protected,
provided for,
and included. Don't beat me up, don't belittle me, and please don't molest me.
I am under 13. I should not be working for a living. That is child labor. It is illegal.
Stop leaving me alone. I am too young to provide for myself. I need your guidance.
Protect our nation's children. They have rights too. To learn more about children's rights, call or visit the offices of the Child Development Agency.
Did you know that the Jamaica Social Investment Fund was established in 1996 as a component of government's National Poverty Alleviation Strategy? As part of its mandate, the agency has been carrying out numerous projects across Jamaica. These projects not only increase access to education for young people, but also equip schools with modern-day facilities. Take a look.
The heights by great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight.
A pillar of Jamaica's development plan, Vision 2030, points to the need for access to quality education. The Jamaica Social Investment Fund, JSIF, continues to make significant contributions to the education sector in Jamaica. They have been effectively mobilizing resources from the CDB Basic Needs Trust Fund, EU Poverty Reduction Program, and the Petro-Caribe Development Fund, with the aim of improving learning environments. JSIF has successfully completed phases 7 and 8 of the CDB Basic Needs Trust Fund BNTF project. One of the components of the project was to support the expansion and rehabilitation of 9 primary schools across Jamaica from the shift system, as well as to reduce overcrowding in some schools. The Mandeville Primary and Junior High and the Christiana Moravian Primary Schools in Manchester were 2 of the beneficiaries.
Mandeville Primary and Junior High, we transitioned September 1, 2017 into the whole day operation from the shift system. JSIF has been an integral part of the transition in providing us with 12 new classrooms and also with a sanitation system.
Before the Jamaica Social Investment Fund intervened, Christiana Moravian Primary and Infant School was bursting at the seam. We had an enrollment of over 1,000 students with very little space in which to accommodate them. Since the JSIF intervention, we have received 10 new classroom blocks, fully furnished. There was also a rehabilitation component to the project. Our block was rehabilitated, the bathroom facilities were improved. It has boosted the morale of staff, of students, of parents and guardians and other stakeholders.
Silver and gold will vanish away, but a good education will never decay.
In 2009, the Ministry of Health indicated that 235 primary and junior high schools were using unsafe, unhygienic pit latrines. JSIF, through the Petro-Caribbean Development Fund, embarked on removing these outdated facilities. This initiative has since led to the construction of 51 sanitation blocks in primary and junior high schools with over 20,000 beneficiaries.
JSIF has undertaken a huge initiative here. Prior to 2015, we were using pit latrines, and since June of 2015, we can now safely say we are boasting the use of modern toilet facilities.
The bathrooms was very messy.
It was terrifying
when there wasn't any pipes at the pit latrine, because sometimes when we were coming up from using the bathroom, some persons forgot to wash their hands because there wasn't any water.
I was glad because it was nearer to the classroom. We have running water. It was more cleaner. It was more comfortable on the toilets. I have more privacy.
Parents would have expressed concern they don't want their children to be coming here to be using pit latrines, but with the new bathroom facilities, we have had an outpour of students coming here. Over 92 students. Prior to we had 65, and the number is growing.
Do all the good you can to all the people you can, in all the ways you can, just as long as you can.
The JSIF Poverty Reduction Program, PRP, in partnership with the Community Renewal Program funded by the European Union, took on a 48-month project targeting economically marginalized individuals, costing over 1.9 billion Jamaican dollars. The project's objectives are to promote growth through education by improving early childhood institutions, aiding entrepreneurial development, and providing internships, workshops, skills training, as well as tertiary and vocational scholarships.
I got the JSIF scholarship in my final year at the University of the West Indies in 2015 while pursuing a degree in marine biology and psychology. In my final year, I actually had applied for a student loan, but in receiving the scholarship, it covered my entire school fee, and as such, I was really elated, and I actually sent back the money that I had gotten from student loans.
The Jamaica Social Investment Fund has been a major player in the implementation of several possibility projects across Jamaica.
Thank you, JSIF.
And the CDB.
Thank you, JSIF and the Petro-Caribbean Development Fund.
Thanks to the JSIF PRP program, I really appreciate the scholarship. It helped me in many, many ways.
JSIF, investing for community development.
Stand up and get in the race.
can become the master of my destiny.
Step up your stride, make we work like a harder. Do it like Veronica, Bolt and a Sapa.
We can rise above the challenges and shine.
Was with passion in your heart. Make a plan and stop all your idling. You think I saw? We reach out the edging. I can, you can. Like our Olympians, every Jamaican can.
During his sectoral presentation, the State Minister for Youth, Floyd Green, urged Jamaicans to end the discrimination of children in state care who are applying for jobs. Watch this.
What the ward said to me, Mr. Speaker, is that oftentimes when they apply for a job, when they indicate that they lived in our government facilities, they are discriminated against. They say oftentimes the entire interview, Mr. Speaker, changes. An assumption is made that they are troublemakers coming into the place to give trouble. Mr. Speaker, as a society, we must stop that. The vast majority of the children who come into our care, Mr. Speaker, don't come because they are bad. They come because of neglect, because of a genuine lack of care. Discriminating against them, Mr. Speaker, furthers that cycle of abuse. And I implore us to stop it.
Yes, if we all do this, we will surely be making Jamaica the place of choice for these wards to live, work, raise families, and do business. The rainy season is here, and I'm sure most of you are loving the cool weather that accompanies the rainfall, but you are not loving the influx of mosquitoes. It is for this reason that the Ministry of Health continues to urge persons to eradicate all mosquito breeding sites in and around their homes. Here's how you can do that.
We're looking for any container or anything which can hold water. It doesn't need a lot of water for that mosquito to deposit its eggs. Very shallow quantity of water they can deposit in it.
The rain has fallen and this has collected water. And if it is allowed to sit in the environment for a couple of days, the Aedes aegypti will breed on it. This is a plastic over a pail and the water is on the plastic. This is a beautiful breeding site for the Aedes aegypti mosquito. We have a similar one right here. There's water on the top of this container and the Aedes aegypti mosquito will breed in it. Once the water begins to evaporate and she has a space to lay her eggs, she will lay her eggs and this will then become a breeding site. Turn it over. We do appreciate that roof gutters are very necessary in some areas that do not have pipe water, so it helps to collect the rainwater when it comes. However, if these roof drains become blocked by trash or other things, then it makes the water stagnant and it becomes a major breeding site for the Aedes aegypti mosquito. So it's important if you have these roof gutters that you keep them clear, that the water is able to run. Even among your plants, we have plants that are, because of how the leaves overlap each other, they are able to collect water. And Aedes aegypti loves to breed in those environments. We suggest that persons do. If you think you love these plants and you want them, put them in pots. So when they do collect water, you're able to pick up the pots, drain them out and put them down. Because as it is right now, it's very difficult for us to get rid of the water and they will just continue to be in the environment as breeding sites.
This is a tire which has been discarded, but it's just in the backyard. And what we have now is apparently rainwater has now settled inside there, and we have it breeding. The Aedes are back to the breeding inside here. It can be used as a enclosure for your plants, like a potted plant situation. So what we'll show you now is how we can have it filled with dirt that will ensure that when rain does fall, mosquito will not breed in it.
There's also a method of stacking the tires so that they will not collect water. We advise the tire shop owners to, for each tire that they get, to punch a hole in each of the tires. Once that is done, they can stock them in this plaiting form. So they have one row going in a particular direction and then another set going in the opposite direction, and they will continue with this. What this does, it allows the water to be directed towards where the hole is bored. So even if the rain comes and water goes in, the water will not settle but go out. We know that most churches have what is called a baptismal pool. And we have found baptismal pools to be a major breeding site for the Aedes aegypti mosquito. So what is it that churches should do? We recommend that all baptismal pools be covered properly so that the mosquito will not have access to it for breeding. Sometimes the pools are shaped very funny, and so it's very difficult to cover. In those instances, we ask persons to empty the pool at least once per week. And after emptying the pool, we ask that you scrub the sides to ensure that you have dislodged all the eggs. So we saw many sites that were breeding the Aedes aegypti mosquito today. And we saw that these sites were found in and around our homes, business places. And if we do not deal with these breeding sites, they are going to continue to be there, posing a risk for the transmission of diseases because they are breeding the Aedes aegypti mosquito. So you must take action to rid your environment of those sites. So what is it that we're asking you to do? We want you to make this a habit. Once a week, search for and destroy the breeding sites of the Aedes aegypti mosquito.
Our children are different. All of them require patience, love, understanding, right? And for us during Child Month, where the theme is Affirm Me, that's what we want to remind all adults, that every child is our child, and we must see how we can give them that love, that patience, that understanding, so that they can become their best self.
Unfortunately, this is where we close off our magazine for today. Thanks for staying with us for the entire show. Another informative edition awaits you tomorrow. But until then, share your feedback and comments on today's show by emailing us at jamaicamagazine@gis.gov.jm. And don't forget to visit our website at jis.gov.jm or follow us on Twitter at JIS News and on Instagram at JIS Voice. On behalf of the entire JIS team, walk good.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.